This is a very unscripted video about the newest patch 10.4. There's a lot of changes that are going to be happening in this patch. Like, we have CLOVE Changes, which is coined as a nerf, but it's actually a buff. We have Deadlock Changes. We have ISO Changes. We have some neon, whatever, TEJO NERF, and Ascent Changes. So we're going to go one by one with all of those changes. I'm going to talk about them, and in the description of the video I'm going to paste the changes in actual text. So let's start with the CLOVE. I'm going to read out the changes in the description. CLOVE, this is, by the way, this is what you're going to find in the actual patch notes when it's going to be released officially. CLOVE has been overperforming in ranked, so we're making some adjustment to their abilities to keep ranked in a healthy spot. Similar to balance changes we have made in the past, we'd like to continue encouraging controller diversity by making space for other agents who have similar strengths. By listening to this, you think, oh, that's gonna be a huge nerf to CLOVE because her pick rate is above 10% in ranked, which means that on average, there's at least one CLOVE in every game. At least, minimum, on average, there's at least one CLOVE every game, right? So she's overpicked above every other controller in the game, and she's the most commonly picked controller, so she's getting a nerf, right? Well, not really, because what is changing to CLOVE, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean, is there's a change to her smoke. So let's show this changes to the smokes. Oh, Lothar, yeah, this is a nerf. Yes, this is a nerf. Her smokes have a cooldown of 40 seconds now instead of 30 seconds. Now, okay, that is a nerf. It's not that big of a deal because, again, you're getting those smokes back. You just cannot go back to back like an Omen could, essentially. But it's still very similar situation. And for rank, this doesn't have like really any impact. For pro play, she's not picked at pro play, so this doesn't really affect it in current state. If you would play CLOVE at a pro level, you're probably gonna pick her as a secondary choice, not as a first choice. So she would never be actually a pick in pro play anyway, right? But, and now, here comes the kicker. Remember, Riot is coining this change as a nerf, right? Meddle is the grenade. Meddle no longer explodes after 1 second and 300 milliseconds timer after casting it. Explodes after contact with the ground after 750 milliseconds, right? So how it worked before is like if you throw the grenade, it just explodes after 1 second and something. Now it explodes only when it has contact with the ground. And that's it. Everyone is like, oh, okay, that's some nice change. Well, it's not. This is a buff. You know why? Because this grenade is incredibly powerful. It deals almost instant 90 damage, right? Wait, I'm at 1 HP. Anyway, it deals 90 damage DK, right? Instantly to everyone in range. But we were not able to do lineups before. And now, guess what are you able to do with this new Meddle? You're able to do lineups with this. That is absolutely broken because this grenade was specifically designed in a way that didn't allow you to combo with other pieces of utility. Now you can actually do it with other pieces of utility. If you have a Sova ultimate, for example, Shockdot lineups, race player that would just throw paint shots or something, you're able to combine all of that to make someone instantly deleted. So this is an incredible buff to coordinated play. So in ranked, to some degree it might matter because now you can actually reliably enter sites. Like, think about it this way. What I'm gonna be able to do is do it this way. I'm gonna go and do the lineup, do the smokes while going like this, right? And now swing. Smokes are in, I can run in, right? And I'm able to fight with all of the util by myself. Essentially, I was able to do an execute with a grenade and a gun ready to shoot because of the way that I'm able to time everything. So essentially, she gets a very big buff to coordinated play, which might push her to be picked in pro play more as a secondary controller, but also to have synergy with other agents. Now, for example, on Lotus, you're able to throw the grenade from a very long range. Let's say I'm on Lotus on A and I want to affect rubble. I can just throw the grenade like this, you know? Throw this grenade like this and it affects people that are very far away from me. This is an incredible buff to Clove and it makes me incredibly unhealthy. But wait, there's more. There is more that I'm not able to show it to you because I would have to kill someone to use Pick Me Up. Pick Me Up is the heal, right? And the heal changes are like this. Move speed duration reduced from 8 seconds to 3 seconds. Big nerf. The duration of the speed nerf is pretty big, but it's still impactful to swing essentially the first corner. Now wait for this. Health buff duration increased from 8 seconds to 10. Now that's a straight up buff specifically for ranked players. So what's gonna happen in my eyes is that we're gonna see even more Clove in ranked because now she is, in my opinion, better than before. Her grenade became more useful, her heal has more duration, and those two things combined, in my opinion, will gonna be making her better not only for ranked but also for pro play. So we might actually see a little bit more of Clove at pro play, which is okay, but I'm very unhappy about the changes, how they will affect ranked. That is my opinion, how this will affect ranked. All right, let's go to the next agent. And the next agent is Deadlock. All right. So Deadlock changes are very peculiar. You can already see the change on the bottom of the screen. So what happens is, let's read it out first. As Deadlock players have improved over time, her reactive stalling potential is solidifying as one of her unique strengths. As a result, we want to encourage GravNet as one of her primary tools to pounce onto targets that are disrespecting the area she controls. Very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. To account for the GravNet swapping to a signature, because now we don't have the wall being the signature, we have now the grenade being the signature, right? We will be shrinking the size and increasing some of its counterplay. Since the skill will be cast more frequently, we'd like to encourage plays to be more intentional and precise about placement. So what happens to GravNet is that it's now a signature ability with 40 seconds cooldown, which is incredibly big for defaulting, and it gives her more possibilities of being flexible during the rounds, which is a good thing for Deadlock. I think having the ability to have more than one grenade is good. At the same time, I think that she should be just able to buy 2 grenades instead of having it on cooldown. So now, because it's now a signature, it got nerfed. It's not a big nerf, but it's a little bit of a nerf. Her size of the grenade got reduced from 16 meters to 13 meters. It's still very big. That's what she said, right? It's still very big. Like, if we would have to, like, imagine, you can see how it reaches the wall over here. This is the 13 meters mark. The previous version of this grenade was like this. It would still reach the wall, like probably more like this. I would have to say like this. The previous iteration of the grenade would reach still the wall. So it's like, in circumference, it's 3 meters, which is big. But for real life applications, I don't think it matters that much. Now, what happens to her is that her wall is being changed to a utility that you have to buy. And her wall is now 400 credits. You have to spend 400 credits to throw this garbage. Now that's a problem. That's a problem because this utility piece is not great. And it costs now the same as Sage Wall. Applications are more limited than a Sage Wall. And that's it. That's essentially... right. Wait. There's one more change to the grenades. Because this is 100% sure... I am 100% sure that I already found a bug that the Riot developers didn't think about. So when you use one grenade multiple times on a player, he's going to remove the grenades separately. I got hit with 3 grenades, I have to remove it 3 times, as you can see. If I'm being hit with 2 grenades, right, 1 and 2, I have to remove the grenade twice. So essentially, that is a byproduct of this not being designed as a signature ability. I'm almost certain. And this can happen in game. You can hit someone twice with the grenade if he just doesn't move for 40 seconds and you throw the grenade at the same spot. Now, this will most likely not happen in the games, but can happen in the games. All right, let's go back to the wall. So now, her wall is 400 credits. How does this affect the entire agent design? In my opinion, it's a big nerf for her defense side because her kit got more expensive. Her entire kit is now 800 credits. Before it was 600 credits because you had to buy 2 traps, 200 each, and a grenade, 200. So you had to, for a full buy, you would have to spend 600 credits for her util to be bought. Now it will cost 800, which makes it one of the most expensive in the game, if not the most expensive. I think I should have checked it probably before the recording this video, but I think it's the most expensive alongside Sage, which is also 800. So the problem is that on defense, it's gonna be harder for you to make it more to be efficient with your buys because you're gonna have to spend 400 on the wall, and on lower buys you will not have your wall anymore, which limits the way to play defensive because your role is essentially strapped off your main thing that stops people from going in, and instead you get the grenade that is on one and done, right? So I think it's a negative change for defense, but it's overall, this change is positive for attack. For attack, it's a big buff for pistol rounds because now you're gonna be able to play always with the grenade, right? So you can play a sheriff, for example, and the grenade. That is actually a very powerful buy, specifically for ranked games, where you're gonna be able to, like, you know, throw it and have a sheriff over here, and you're gonna be able to just kill people because they're crouched, right? So I feel like this change is very positive for attacking. It's also incredibly important for defaulting because now you're going to be able to start rounds with the grenade at the beginning of the round. Let's say I'm playing a default attack on Ascent. The round starts, I'm throwing the grenade, not like this. I'm throwing the grenade on short, and I'm trying to affect people who are going from there, right? So I'm throwing the grenade like this in the first opening. This is my opening gambit. I'm attacking and I'm affecting the short. If we're defaulting, in 40 seconds, I'm gonna have another grenade to use for another type of execute. So now after 40 seconds, I can actually attack B and throw the grenade on stairs and affect someone who's standing stairs. And I had actually quite a big of an impact with the Deadlock already just by using the 2 signatures. So I think the overall change for Deadlock is pretty positive for attacking, negative for defending, which I think it's okay. She still needs more changes, but I think overall this is a net positive for ranked players who would like to have more agency for the attacker side. For professional play, I feel like this benefits the teams who are more likely to play a slower default playstyle that not many teams actually are doing. So that's my I think I'm okay with this change with Deadlock. For now, I think it's like a good band-aid change to make Deadlock more impactful and less frustrating to play on attack. Now, another agent that is being changed, and I don't know what to think about this yet, but we'll read through it together. ISO. ISO gets a lot of changes, all right? ISO gets a lot of changes because, let me read it out loud. There's a lot of text. Since his updates in the patches 8.11 and 9.0, ISO has been a bit of a one-trick pony around his double tap. I mean, oh, it should be, no? Like, that's his entire persona. These changes, the double tap is his shield, right? That's tanks bullets. These changes are intended to redistribute power around ISO's kit to make him a more well-rounded agent. Changes to undercut, so his grenade, intend to increase his overall strategic options, and contingency, so the wall, is receiving an alternate cast paradigm to support slower play and its ability to isolate angles. So this is kind of crazy. We're reverting ISO's double tap tagging change, as trying to kill ISO through his shield is already highly frustrating in a powerful moment. Changes to kill contract, which is his ultimate, are intended to ensure that one duels in the arena always spawn an orb. We're going to talk about it in a second. So, first change, undercut, his grenade. Reduced charges from 2 to 1. As you can see, there's only one undercut. And it works exactly the same, by the way. It's the same distance, it's the same speed. It also deals the double damage, but it's now more expensive. It costs 300 credits instead of 200 credits, so it's a nerf, right? Well, hold your horses, because now it has an additional effect. When you throw the grenade and someone gets tagged, apart from the double damage that it deals, when you can deal to someone, it also casts a 4-second suppression on that person. So essentially, whoever is hit by this double damage debuff also can't use his utility pieces. So he's like a true sentinel killer now. Like, I know there's only one of it, so you have to be precise with it, right? You have to be precise with it. But what you're able to do is you're gonna be able to, like, essentially get lucky, and it's gonna be very random, but you're gonna be able to impact sentinel players that are play on site, and if you hit them, it turns all of their shit off. Well, well, that's great, right? So if you're gonna play Killjoy, and let's say you want to stand on maybe stairs, if you want to stand on maybe the boat, right? Or maybe if you want to stand just on here on lane or something. If you get hit by this, your stuff instantly gets turned off and also visible on the map. So it is incredibly powerful now, but the powerfulness of it also comes from some random aspect, because you're gonna have only one of it, and if someone gets tagged, they're fucked. Think about also how it affects players who are like Jet, Chamber. Chamber is gonna have to TP out before he gets hit, right? A Jet who is standing in the opening of the door here, right? If she gets hit by the double damage, she cannot dash away. So there's gonna be a lot of frustrating situations now with his double damage, because it's much faster. Sorry, with his double damage and suppression, because if you compare it to the Killjoy, to the Chaos suppression, the dagger, you have the animation of its landing. The dagger lands on the wall and it goes and explodes. With this, you just affect people. You just instantly throw it and they get hit. They cannot react. There's no counterplay. You know, there's no counterplay. But what's funny as well, you're going to affect your teammates with this as well. So what if you hit your own Jet and now she cannot dash? You're going to have to be a little bit more careful. But in general, I think this is an incredible buff for ISO. And whew, it's rough. That's only the first change, by the way. This is just the start, okay? This is just the start. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy also against players who are announcing their position, right? So, okay, let's read the next change. Contingency, which is the wall. Contingency now has an alt fire cast that makes the wall move at half speed. This does not affect the duration of contingency. So, you guys know, this is the wall. That's how it works with the left click. But now, you can do the right click. Now, the duration of the contingency is 6 seconds long. The thing is, it already gave you a half diffuse. And with this, you're gonna be able to, like, if you have a teammate, you're gonna be able to almost entirely do a diffuse. You just need to start the right click after someone starts diffusing. Then you do the right click, and since it's so slow, you can almost certainly make it almost impossible for the opponents to shoot through this, because the angle doesn't change much. Let's imagine I'm diffusing on here, on A. Like, a best example would be probably Haven on C, but let's say the spike is over here, right? So my teammate wants to defuse from here. I'm just standing on behind him, right? Like this. He taps the spike, I right click. That is crazy. That is crazy. No one can shoot from main during that moment. But that's not the most impressive thing about this. Because now let's think about it. What can we do with this on attack? I think this is going to be incredibly frustrating, by the way. Basically with the change, of the ISO wall, we're getting a Astra movable cover. Because with the left click, the wall was always faster than you, right? You just like, it's always ahead of you. But because of the speed change, we're able to do this now. I can bait shots by peeking through my own ISO wall. So essentially, I'm like a moving Astra cover ultimate. Jump, peek through it, whatever. That is incredibly powerful, specifically for entrances like this on Ascent on A, on Heaven on C, on Heaven on A as well. Essentially, I feel like this is gonna be the default mode for the wall from now on. So you can use it for like a more conscious cover for you because it's easier to follow it up. This is gonna be incredibly annoying to play against. If an ISO is gonna be good, you're gonna be so frustrated with this, you know? All right, next change. Double tap. ISO now receives a heavy penetration tag rather than a wall penetration tag when the shield is broken. This means he slowed more upon his shield breaking. So essentially what this means, when ISO is shielded, you break his shield with a bullet, there's always a different type of tagging in this game. If you hit someone who is with a Phantom, he is slowed down. But if you hit someone with an Odin, he's slowed down more. If you hit someone through a wall, he also is slowed down less because the damage is smaller and it's less impactful. Now, with this change, whenever the shield is broken, doesn't matter if through a wall, through whatever, with whatever weapon, it's always the heavy penetration. So this the biggest slow that you can get as a player. Now, this is both a nerf to ISO and a buff at the same time. Now, what I mean, I cannot really show you in this video without someone actually shooting and then comparing it to the previous version. But believe me when I say this, how it works is when you get the tag, your character gets slowed down. If your character gets slowed down, he gets the accuracy buff. So essentially, by someone hitting ISO when his penetration is gonna be heavy and the ISO is getting slowed down more, ISO can reply with his own bullet towards the opponent by being more accurate because he's slowed down more. I know it sounds a little bit weird. That's how it works in CS 1.6. That's how it works here in Valorant as well. And it was why many players were frustrated in the past when people that you shoot at reply to you with almost instant accuracy while they were running. They are running, you hit them, you slow them down, so they get the accuracy buff and they reply to you and kill you. This was nerfed over time and it's still nerfed, but it still applies to the game. Okay, last change to ISO is the kill contract. It's a bug fix, apparently. If ISO does not have the double tap applied before going into the ultimate, we're not talking about the shield, we're just talking about the activation of the double tap. So the possibility of getting a kill and spawning an orb that you have to shoot to get a shield. The ultimate will now automatically apply it so that a ultimate duels always spawn an orb. So essentially when you press X, even if you don't have a double tap anymore because you used it before, if you press X, you catch someone into your ultimate, you go into your ultimate, your double tap is gonna get activated. This was something that was already in the game when ISO was released, but it was, I guess, a bug that it was not in the game anymore. So now it's back. Essentially, if you always prefer to go into your ultimate with a shield active, but at least when you don't have the shield anymore because you already used it, then you can use your ultimate, win the ultimate, and get a second shield. All right, so now, when it comes to Neon, the Neon changes are not really that big of a deal, and it's not like competitive to any degree, because essentially around Neon's overdrive, we have been updated to make Neon and her directionality clearer when she's fighting with overdrive active. Now, I don't think you're gonna hear this from your first-person perspective.
Here we go.
I think it's just the direction of the sound that is being changed, and that's about it. So you're probably gonna be easier to, like, it's gonna be easier for you to understand the direction of the Neon coming from, where she's coming from, when it comes to listening to the sound. All right, next one is the big one that you guys are probably waiting since the beginning of this video. Tejo. What happened to Tejo? He is getting a nerf.
Left.
Oh, you guys are happy? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Actually, I'm gonna go to the practice range to explain you to this while I'll be reading what happened. So, you guys like the 1 million points that I have here? Since Tejo's release, we've been monitoring the interaction where Tejo can destroy Killjoy's lockdown with his guided salvo. For context, we typically prefer when abilities interact in a way that allows players to be creative in how they use them in response to other utility used during the round.
My ultimate is ready.
But in case of Tejo's guided salvo, so his missiles, right? But in case of Tejo's guided salvo cooldown model, both players get into unsatisfying stalemates where neither Tejo nor Killjoy want to be the first person to cast. So we're changing guided salvo so that it requires more team play to successfully destroy a Killjoy ultimate. Killjoy's lockdown will now survive a guided salvo with 5 HP. Guided salvo is nerfed. The damage is decreased from 70 to 65 per explosion, and guided salvo now do 50% of the damage to non-player objects. Now, this is weird because people will be happy that this happens, right? Because now essentially guided salvo will deal so much damage with one rocket to a Killjoy ultimate. This is one rocket. If you put 2 rockets, because this is a non-player, this is gonna be the damage they're gonna deal. 192. By the way, I don't know why they said 5 HP. It's gonna be alive at 8 HP, right? So you're not gonna be able to destroy Killjoy lockdown anymore, even with 2 rockets. There's thank you. There's a problem that I see with this, and it's like I'm happy that the Killjoy lockdown is not gonna be destroyable, but it creates a little bit of confusion. So let me explain. The thing is that I don't like about this is that Riot made a change in one of the previous patches that every single piece of utility in the game deals exactly the same damage to everything in the game. Because in the past, race satchels were dealing 1000% damage to utility pieces. So they were able to destroy Sage walls just instantly. We had Aftershock, who was dealing 250%, I think, to utility pieces. So each explosion was 2.5 more efficient with dealing damage to non-player objects. Then we had Shock Darts, who had, I think, had 150%, and so on and so on. After the change, they made it very clear that they want everyone to understand how much damage you deal to everything in the game. So if you deal 60 damage with a utility piece, it deals 60 damage to a player and 60 damage to a non-player. But in this case, Tejo is the only agent in the game that doesn't deal the expected damage. Now he's gonna deal half of the damage that you think you're gonna do to utility pieces. Is that a big of a problem? Probably not, but it goes against the things that they wanted to change to make the system pretty clear. Now, how does this change Tejo? It's a nerf? It's a nerf. Is it important? Not at all. Tejo is incredibly oppressive and incredibly overpowered, not because he counters a Killjoy ultimate, but because he's so flexible that he can be played on every map, delivers the same kind of value on every map, and is able to be played as an execute initiator, can be played as a default initiator, can be played as a stall defender, it can be played as a zoning tool, can be played as a kill tool. He can do everything. And on top of that, we were only talking about one piece of utility, which is the missiles. We're not even talking about the stun, that is actually like a duelist piece of utility because it has fast equip, right? So Tejo's usefulness and Tejo's power level comes from the fact that he can do all of this every game. And it doesn't matter if there's a Killjoy on site or not. The Killjoy thing was annoying, but was not impacting the pro play in any way, specifically nowadays, because even if there's Ascent in the map pool and everyone was playing Killjoy in that map, no one will be playing Killjoy anymore because everyone will be playing Vice anyway. So this is a non-factor change in my book, because if I'm playing at a pro level and I'm playing Ascent or any other map where Killjoy was prevalent, I'm not playing Killjoy anymore, I'm just playing Vice. And if I want to even play double Sentinels, I'm going to be playing Vice and probably Cypher, because he's more useful and also delivers a better utility pieces to counter the new agent, Waylay, that I'm going to release a new video about probably today. So it's a good change for Tejo, but it's not impactful enough to actually change anything. And that's about it. So, overall, this seems like a very weird patch. Now, I forgot to show you the change to Ascent when I was on Ascent already. There's only one change on the map. There's only one change on the map, which essentially affects the B main entrance. It got a metal wall on it that you cannot shoot through. And that's essentially it. That's essentially it. And the text says, while bullet penetration is a meaningful system that rewards map knowledge and situational execution, we feel like the weapon spam at the B main entrance at the barrier drop is currently creating unhealthy gameplay and frustrating experiences. This change will give attackers some added safety at the barrier drop when first approaching B main. Change part of the B main wall will along B lane to not be pannable. So essentially, yep, here we go. This wall over here, you cannot shoot through anymore. As you can see, this small area was changed and you cannot penetrate it anymore with anything. And the same goes from the other side. They kept the graffiti, of course, because why not? And that's about it. Now, is that a big of a change? It is. It changes the way that you want to play on B main. But it makes this orb super attacker-sided, because you don't have to be worried about being spammed through the wall. But I don't think it changes much for the map itself. And I'm actually very disappointed that there were no other changes to this map, because I don't know, man. Like, this map really needs changes. But at the same time, and this is gonna be like more like a prediction, you're gonna see new metagame on this map anyway, because Tejo is absolutely broken on this map, and Vice is as well. So every game at a professional level will have 2 Tejos and 2 Vices on this map, and probably the new agent Waylay, but that's gonna be in the next video. All right, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about the patch, and see you guys next time. Thank you if you also subscribe and like the video. Bye bye.